Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Graham here, POCGamer, and it's time to do some more mapping. Thank you very much for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe, no matter which channel you're watching this on, because we are doing multi-stream again today, which is awesome. Please feel free to talk, chat. Just going to drop stuff apparently here. Um, and yeah, so what are we doing today? After that horrible intro that I just did. What we're doing today is we are going to expand the village. So with this particular mapping project, what happened was we started out 2 weeks ago with the idea that, as a game master, you had forgotten to do some prep and you needed to do some prep really fast, get a village made for the game that you're running. Awesome. Mission complete. Last week, a scenario that any game master will be, or dungeon master will be all too familiar with. The players really like the place and they decide to stick around. So now you have to make it look pretty. You have to make it look nicer. So last week we did made it look nicer, and I was pretty happy with the results overall. This week, new challenge. The players have decided to stick around. You've thrown out your plot hooks. You've tried to get them to move on to the part of the game that you already had, like all prepped and ready to go. They're not biting. They love this village. They love the area around it. They want to do more things around it. So what do? Now we have to do some labeling and we have to expand the village. And so let's get into it. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we are going to save as a clone. So this is our base map. Let's go to the safe triangle here. This is our base map. The whole idea behind the base map is that this is going to be our immutable map we can always come back to do work on. And so once you have your base map done, you want to save it in case you need to come back to it, you want to do something else to it. You don't necessarily want to immediately do everything to it. So I'm going to come up here and we're going to save it as a clone. So we're going to save it as Lakes Village Expansion. So what this is going to do is it's going to save it, save everything that we have on here, which is awesome. And when it finishes the saving process, we'll be working on the map that it's been cloned to. So it's kind of nice. You don't have to leave this area, go back to the map selection and select a whole new map. You can just use the one that's on the screen. This is very true. Your world doesn't need to be realistic to be interesting. This is facts. It's fun. The joys of doing things in real time. Yeah, good advice. That is something I'll absolutely give Incarnate. They give fantastic advice and information. Um, in these little boxes. All right, copy saved. You're now editing the saved copy. If you save any changes, the original map will not be modified. Oh, can't see that thumbs up. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Just realized. Sorry, I don't know if anyone was watching from Australia, but sorry about that. Okay. So, we have Balom Village. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make it small. And we're going to come up here and we're going to do resize map, new map from region. So, what does this mean? This means that we are going to create a bigger map. This tool can be used to either section, as we saw when I was doing the world map, which is slowly being completed in the background right now because no one wants to see me doing labeling for hours and hours and hours on end. You can use it to section off a little area, or you can use it to expand it. So in this case, Start here. Let's try to get it to match. Love it how one's... Oh, I think that's probably about as square as we're going to look at. So, release and confirm. So a new map will be created based on the selected region. This is new map. Remove all outside the selected region. Yep. Save and proceed. Now it's having a real hard thing because we just did some wild stuff to this design. I tested this last week to see what it looked like, and if you follow me on Instagram, you saw the pictures from that. It was really good. I really liked how it worked. But in keeping with the theme of these, where I'm doing everything in real time, I want to show you what's happening and how it works. Happy result, please save your map below. Now, okay. We're going to save it. Expansion plus labels. So this is awesome. Now, personally, this is about as large as I like to go when I'm doing any kind of a you know, like uh, fine detail map, which is what I'm doing here. Because if you get bigger than this, things can get a little bit wonky. But as just demonstrated with the expansion here, what you can do is you could also expand from a part of the map off in a different direction. So you can maintain that continuity moving out from it, which is awesome. Super handy, really good method to get things going without running into that issue I've found with other mapping programs where like you'll create a map and you want to create a map that's beside it, but you can't link the two up, so you sort of have to guess, and you end up with a not quite synced up world. Okay, so what do we see right away? Well, we still have Balam Village here. That's awesome. So we have our core village. Then, as you can see here, all those places when I was doing all the doing all my background textures and everything else like that, every time I went like this, and it went outside the area, it recorded that, which is not something I did not know that it did. And you can also see where trees were cut off previously. They're fully there. So this is pretty interesting. Not something that I had expected. So let's do a water baseline here. This is the water we used. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to add land on top of that. And we'll come in with the right color fill for this in a moment. Get bigger. Yeah, we can. There we go. Didn't want to fill in that, like here by the lake, it's not too bad because that's going to get erased, but I'll go to fine detail where the creek is. Kind of keep it real. Okay, and come over here, textures, and I believe it was this one. Is it this one? Oh, foreground helps. There we go. All right. Looking good. All right, so I like what I'm seeing so far. Let's see here. All right. So I'm just making sure that everything's functioning here. Everything appears to be going well. Awesome. I dig it. So we have our world happening. That's good. We've done our expansion. So first thing we're going to do, get our dig tool here, go to subtract. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Make that a little finer. We're zoom in here. And we are going to expand our lake. There we go. Then we're going to go to add. Throw a couple little islands out in there. I like that. Subtract. So this is going to be a nice big lake. Do lots of stuff with that later. Next up. What is this? What am I selected onto right now? I don't sorry, I don't recognize the building it started me selected on, so I'm trying to figure out what it is. Okay. Oh, excellent. Castles and bridges. Windmills, churches. Nope, nope, nope. Shipyard, no. Noble buildings, no. So what I'm looking for, instead trees, trees. Well, I have all these little buildings, but I have to come over to Gothic Horror for things like a smithy, having an adventurer's guild, that sort of thing. Brewery Alchemist. Okay, so we are going to take the smithy. So things that the village needs that weren't included in the first our first go round. So we're gonna add a smithy right there. And I'm just gonna confirm the size of these buildings. Oh, why are these all slightly small? That's weird. That's okay though. It's something we can manage. Size all that up to 100. Whoa. How did that get so weird and giant? Hmm. Got some oddities going on. That's okay though. So smithy. And let's see here. Well, runesmith will do somewhere else. That'll be something different. And they definitely need carpenter. Which actually works with those logs there. Nice. Yeah, see what's going on though. Yeah, I'm gonna shrink that down. Come over here. So when I talked about early, was talking the other day about like little quality of life and upgrades and stuff like that that you may need to do. This is exactly what I was talking about. Hey, like this is unanticipated. Hey, this is the sort of unanticipated um, fix that you can expect to do when you're doing some world building. You know, you realized, oh, I forgot to add this, I forgot to add that, I need to improve things somewhat. And so, yeah, you can just go back and do it. Brewery. Should I give him a brewery? Or just church? Oh, yeah, it's got feet. It's a literal walking hut. Okay. Oh, wow. Those cool looking farmhouses. Let's take a look at what they have. University. Whoa. All kinds of guilds. I saw an Adventurers Guild on here somewhere. Here we go. So the Adventurers Guild is going to be the first thing we put outside the city limits. So let's face it, adventurers get into everything. And occasionally there's the odd magical explosion, so sometimes it's just best that they not be directly inside the protected village. Which is a good opportunity to come back here. Select our road texture. It's a little bigger. There we go. So why an Adventurers Guild? Well, it may not be something that everybody uses, but I've personally found that Adventurers Guilds are super useful. Um, Super useful tools for not just getting adventures started, but also creating some continuity in the world. Um, it's one of the things I've actually really enjoyed about a lot of the fantasy anime that I've watched is how heavily they'll lean on guilds for things like jobs, getting quests started, and other things like that. Because not everything has to be sort of save the world, end of the world sort of doom and gloom operations. And those are the kinds of games I've never really enjoyed because I find that like once you've done one save the world, everything sort of becomes a save the world situation. So let's see, we're going to comment here. Guilds are great. Again, by players guild tokens they could use various conditions for free room and board. Yes, stabling. That's the other thing. Adventure Guilds are great for giving the players a home base to work from before they decide if they want to create their own. All right, so that's looking good. Yeah, I'm liking all that. For Adventurers Guild. Let's see here. Open the catalog. Anything else you want to add? So let's take a look at some of these inns they have. Mansion, walking hut, church, big church, cathedral. Is that an actual castle or is that a ruin? Oh, that is a literal castle. That is a super handy stamp. I'm going to keep that in my back pocket for later. Mage Guild, mage, merchants. What was it? I'll just search for inn. Oh, those are boring. No, do not like that. Boo earns. Okay, so we're going to come over here, grab our tool. So I'm just going to finish, extend up our creek there. What size did I use? Sure, get the right color in there. Oh, nope, not text. Stamps, open catalog, hill. Terrain, I believe I was using Grass Hills. Yeah, there it is. All right. And confirm the size that I'm using. Size 39. Okay. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to reroute this here around. The hill. There we are. Haven't committed to buying Incarnate yet, but I've liked to mess around with this. Yes, absolutely. Incarnate is very good. It does have limitations. I'm a big fan of making sure that people know exactly what they're getting into before they buy something giant. So it does definitely has limitations. The biggest one that I've noticed is that the stamps they aren't one for one across all the stuff that they offer, which can make it a little bit challenging to make what you want work properly. So, for example, you can't make. Um, there's no guarantee you can one for one remake larger scale maps and have this access to necessarily all the same symbols. I'm going to need those little ones again, um, which is kind of irritating. By kind of, I mean really irritating. However, for what it does have and what it does offer, especially in terms of doing fantasy maps and like specifically fantasy maps, because they do not have a science fiction or modern stamp collection yet. Um, it's fantastic. I really enjoy using it. I mean, that's why I selected it to use for this. Just trying to find the right pieces here to cobble together. That there. Also found it works really well. I use the VTT Roll20, and the maps that I've made using it have worked pretty well on there as well. Okay, so time to start wrapping up this hill. All right, that down, that up there. Facing the wrong way, facing the wrong way. All right. Got some spam in the comments. That's always a good sign. It means people are watching. There we go. Hold up. Oh, that makes more sense. So this is one of those little things where it's really easy to get turned around when you're doing something and end up building a weird reverse hill. Uh, let's see here. So for those of you who are with me, oh, that works super well. I just need to get a little piece to link that up. For those of you who are with me on the on creation day, there's a whole lot of this layout of hills and stuff like that. That was the 90-minute village video, which is a lot of fun. A little more challenging than I anticipated, but a lot of fun. There we go. So there's one hill. Come to our paint tool. Select the dark colored paint. Okay, this is one of those tricks I was talking about for quickly differentiating your hills from areas around them. Okay, so you can make them a little darker, or if you prefer, you could make the ground darker, make the tops of the hills lighter. It's up to you how you want to do your color gradient. Personally, I like the tops of the hills to be a little bit darker because it makes them stand out a little bit more to my eyes, but that's me. All right. Nice weird shaped hill there. And then here. Brown Hill Composites. Winter Hills. So this is what I'm talking about where I say they don't have one-for-one stamp matching. Is I've got Dark Hill Composites, I've got Dark Brown Hill Composites from the Gothic Horror set, but in the standard terrain set, as you can see, there's no composite to work with. There's like some dirt hill stuff, um, sand hills, like all sorts of things, but there's none of these convenient. So yeah, look at this. So you want to make it bigger. See, it's just a handy thing. Back down to 39. That's where we were working. So here's an instance where we're going to use trees to kind of cover up where these are linking up. There we go. And how big are these trees? 98. Okay. There we go. Fit to screen, 154 changes. Going to hit that save button. All right, map saved. So we've added our Adventurers Guild there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to here select this, make it a little bit smaller. So So how's the village sustaining itself? Well, the usual way. Yeah, all these should all be, except for that. That was weird. So fit to screen. I don't want to select all the trees. Oh, the trees are 98% too. Weird. Okay. Select everything. Too many objects. Yeah. I'll get into that later. Try to fix the sizes a bit. But what we're going to do is we're going to open our catalog. Oh, wait, no, not stamps. This one, and we need foreground. We're going to use that, but I need to open the catalog. I need crops. Farm textures. Here we go. So we're going to add a few. And then we come in with our squiggly tool. And redo those edges. It's not like they have GIS to make perfect squares of all this. So we got some crops. Okay, hold up. Threw some of those down before. Also, it resized a whole bunch of stuff. That's interesting. So when I resized the map, it resized everything down to 98. Okay. So this is one of those things. That's important to pay attention to, because I've unwittingly made the error of like trying to adjust everything back to 100, not realizing that everything had been adjusted down to 98. And that this had been adjusted down to 59. So now it's all starting to make sense. So this was adjusted down to 39, which given the size of the people makes sense. So yeah, this would be one of those things where I'd say like before you start going all in. Oh, that's pretty small. Yeah, let's go for 70 for that. So we'll use 70 for those. So that's comically small. Oh, that makes it too big. Wow. What, 59? Yeah, 59 works. Just read it, everything. That's okay. That's fine. Best learn about it now than later. Ugh. Scatter some carts around there. I draw a brush. And it's okay to sort of eat into the so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to switch back to the corn. Or wheat? I don't know, whatever this stuff is. And make it match the paths more or less. It's got some nice asymmetric fields. And it ends up looking a little nicer. A little bit more lived in, a little bit more real. Because remember, the key here is to make it like hyper realistic. You don't want your players to be like, "Oh, this is the most realistic thing ever," because that's going to change the vibe of your game. So what you want is you want it to be realistic enough that it triggers the suspension of disbelief. So things have to make enough sense that people are like, "Okay, this makes sense within the context of the larger world," but not so much that they're sitting there being like, "Oh, this is too much. I don't get it." That sort of thing. Some nice big fields there. And so the nice thing with this is that you can just click on a stamp you've already used before, and you can just bust it out again. So we said the wind is coming roughly from this direction based on the other windmill. So set up a second windmill there. Here. So now we're back to little houses. So the thing to remember with, especially with villages like this, is you're going to have a protected area, and then inevitably, owing to the needs of, fields, space, all that sort of stuff. The issue with fortification is that there's just not enough space for everybody all at once. No matter how much you want to try to pack everybody in, and so you'll always end up with some people outside of the protected area. But even then, what's likely going to happen is you're going to see them cluster together a little bit. And that'll be happening for safety. So even though they don't get to enjoy the direct benefit of safety inside the walls, they're still going to want to have some of the benefits of at least being close together. And I think this is important for fantasy worlds because they are inherently more dangerous than the real world, and that's something that tends to get lost a lot when people are doing their world building, as they work under almost an assumption that you could have undefended or not linked up sorts of locations that people do fine, when in reality that would be basically a monster buffet. You're just inviting whatever local monsters are around to swing by and fill up. So let's come back here. So usually these boat houses before, but I think they're a good all-purpose little. Maybe it's where they store the wagons or something like that. And let's select a well. And we'll drop it right there. Let's zoom in. Just make sure everyone has enough space to kind of get around. Back up a little bit. Let's move you over. There we go. Actually, we're going to put this windmill over here. It's got a little clearer shot of the wind. One 101 changes, hit the save button. Yeah, commentary. I always appreciate it when people actually put farms on their maps. Yes, it's one of my biggest pet peeves for fantasy mapping, is where you see like a city in the middle of nowhere with no supporting anything around. Like there's no infrastructure, there's no water access, there's no food, no farms, no nothing. And I look at it and I just think to myself, how are they alive? Like what is sustaining them? Because and like I realize, in especially games like Dungeons and Dragons, there's spells like create food and water, and that's fine. But like to maintain a city of like say 100,000 people, not even 100,000, like to maintain a city of say like 20,000 people, like the number of clerics you would need casting that spell nonstop or something similar. Yeah, yeah. How do you handle sanitation? That is a whole. That was actually the first question my missus asked when I showed her this map. I was like, "Sweetie, check out this cool village I made in 90 minutes." She looked at it. She's like, "Cool. Where's the poop go?" I was like, "I haven't put that in yet." She's like, "You should probably put that in because that's necessary." And she's absolutely correct. It's probably gonna be something, a little cesspit here. And is there even a pit option, or do I have to fabricate something? Hole? Hmm. Looks like I might have to fabricate something. Awesome. Oh, wait, maybe they have something in Gothic horror. All sorts of churches, crowded buildings, creating crowded cities. Nope, nope. Oh, that's a nice wooden bridge. Giant bones, always nice. Bizarre rocks, cliffs, natural stairs. That's handy. I'll remember that. All right, well, let's go to. That's what everybody wants. Oh, there you go. Oh, that's gonna be handy late down the road. Okay. All right, so I've got them down there. So let's come back over to our painter. Here, let's see here. So I actually want to create another hill here, then stack another hill up on top of it. But we are, oh, geez, we are coming up on the end of our hour. That went fast. Uh, but you know what? I think it's worth it. So what I'm going to do for this last minute before we go into our recap is I'm just going to quickly shade in where I think I'm going to want hills. I'm going to need something bigger than that. Bigger. There we go. So I think it's something there. And so I'm put some more farmland in over here. So I'll just rough that in. There we go. And then select stamp. Oh, right. Catalog. What texture did I use over there? Hmm. Okay, so this one. Squiggles. Smaller. The catalog. I believe it was dark green grass, maybe? So there's a swampy area. I'll have to find out what exactly I used there because can't remember the texture. Okay, so swampy area there. And swampy area right there. Bigger. There we go. Fit something up there. Another hill up there. Stamps. Oh, well, ugh, normal. Those look awful. All right. So one of the things to remember when you're using incarnate is whatever the settings of your last stamp you touched were is what it will go back to a lot of the time. So we're going to do forest there, throw some forests along here as well. So this is just roughing in what I'm going to be doing next week. More forest down here. Forest up on that hill. Forest. Forest. More forest. All right, so fit the screen, and we're going to hit the save button. And I'm just going to quickly use those some of those little label stamps to show how I'm going to be doing the labeling on here. So I did say there's going to be a little bit of labeling today. See your comments. See here. Sometimes I have to go not to get bogged down with finer details. It's true. Yeah, the players don't need to know where the limestone came from. That is factually yes. Like unless they have to go there for something, they do not need to know. Okay, so go stamps, open the catalog, watercolors in cities. Here we go. So with frames and labels, you've pretty much got a negative one here. Sort of not negative, like a negative image sort of one here. High vis, and then sort of a classic one. Owing to the nature of this map, let's see. I'm gonna use this one. I'm gonna bring it down in size though, down to size 50. And what I'm going to do, because we already know this is Balon Village, so put a dot by the Adventurers Guild, a dot by there, dot by, actually, hang on. Hold up. All right, so I just want to specify something before I do all this. As I'm putting all these little demo dots down, something to remember is that these are temporary. Probably going to remove them or move them next stream. And the simple reason is that they aren't all necessary quite yet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now we come over here to text. 1. I believe I was using. What is this one? Amarante. There we go. I need to shrink it down to say 15. Down to 10. Fill color. There we go. Okay, so there is some 100% opaque. That's all fine. More shadow. Let's increase that to 2.5. There we go. And then we can move ours. So there we go. Two. And 4. There we go. Click off there. Hit the save button. And we'll go into our review. This has been really good today. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So great commentary. You also have to be careful sometimes when you might offhandedly suggest that the players can't buy something due to a supply disruption because they might suddenly rush off to investigate the issue. This is absolutely true. It's one of the. You know what helps if I can count. There we go. 3. That's better. One, two, three, 4. All right, save again, then review. Can't believe I took 2 4s on. Oh well, that's okay. That is why we review the images before we do stuff. All right, so here we go. We are expanding the area around Balam Village to actually make it into a more functional example of village, and also potentially throw down some, plot hook, story points, all that sort of thing. Uh, so what have we got going so far? Well, we started roughly with this at the beginning, about an hour ago. Since then, we added a few things the village was missing. So there's a carpenter up here and a smithy down here. We threw a little adventurers guild building outside the main defenses of the main village. Finished this hill. Finished this hill. Expanded this little river coming down there. Expanded out the lake. Dropped a couple little islands into it. Got our roads going north and south and off to the east. Laid out the beginnings of our the agricultural areas that support the village, and as well as like a little, almost like a little sub village, a little sub component area. A lot of fun with that. So there's going to be a few of those scattered around, and those are going to be places to go. Like those are what I call plot hook locations, because if something goes wrong in the village, sure, you could have it go wrong inside the main village, or you could have things go wrong outside the village. If things go wrong outside the village, there's a reason for the players to leave it and do things. Then, with only minutes to spare in the stream, I came in and roughed in where I'm going to be throwing down some more hills, some more forest, a couple more fields, and yeah. So moving on from here, what's going to happen is I'm going to, and then of course we threw down some labels. The idea being that with this style of labeling, what I'm actually going to do is I'll have a piece of paper or a document with, one to however high we get, that'll let the players reference it and see, okay, well, this is this location, this is this location, this is this location. And it saves space and time on the map itself because we're not actually writing words onto it. So we don't have to worry as much about splining, which is, getting the right angles on everything. And we also don't have to worry about fitting everything in. The downside of this style of labeling, though, is that it doesn't look as pretty. We're very much conditioned when we look at maps to look for, that nice, beautiful writing, quick and easy things to read. This is going off that a little bit, so it's a trade-off. But I think this is more appropriate for this style of map because, writing Market Square here, or, low end in, high end in Adventurers Guild, that's going to get really crowded really fast on an urban style map. Now, next week, what we're going to do is finish expanding out the farming areas, throw out a couple little village areas, maybe throw a lumber camp in somewhere, and then add a few local issue points. So this is places where slimes are eating the crops, mysterious old mine, old cave, stuff where sort of like the low end monsters at the beginning of an adventure are going to be. So these are what I call, usually called beast monsters in my games. So they're more or less animal intelligence, maybe a little bit more predatory or dangerous to the village, which needs the adventurers to go deal with it because they're busy with their day-to-day village lives and like keeping the village secure. They don't have the surplus adventurer population inside. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do next week. And so for the space and topography aren't important world map that I was working on, that is proceeding. I'm hoping I'll be able to show show how well it's gone later this week because that one's going through the full labeling process. So that's all that splining, fitting everything in that I was talking about that you saw several weeks ago now me do for a subsection of it. I'm going to get that, and hopefully I'll have something nice to show you once I get everything to fit properly. Because nobody wants to watch labeling for like an hour and a bit. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching. It's been great. Had some great conversation happen here. Only one bot showed up today, and there's no inappropriate bot content. So thumbs up. That was good. My name's Graham. You can look me up as POCGamer or Panzerlion just about anywhere. And the bot was reported. Thank you. You can look me up as POCGamer. I'm not as active on Twitter now. That account is currently locked down, but there's still updates coming in. And if you haven't followed me there, you can apply to follow me. And if everything looks cool, I will add you, and you can see what's happening there. But check me out on Instagram. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Hive. I've got some TikTok stuff going on as well. So look me up on all those places. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Help grow the channel, whichever channel you happen to be watching. And you know what? Have a great day.